Come on in, come on in, come on in. What's going? Orange Groove, what's up? He
Yep,
says
yep,
Trojan
yep.
fight on. Oscar, what's up, my man?
Fight on, fight on.
Brian Hanley, what's going on, my man? How's everybody doing, man? Come on in. We're gonna wait just a second. And we just want to give a little brief preview real quick. USC and Colorado, what to expect, what do we think is gonna happen? How does Colorado match up? And really, let's just be honest about this. Colorado is not much, really not much to from an offensive perspective and defensive perspective to really deal with. We just got to go out there and handle business. Jay, what's the word?
Woo! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon what part of the world and country you're in. Hey, I'm doing excellent. I am excited, big bro, because I feel like this can be a glue game where we can put some pieces together before we head into this final stretch. And so I am really, really curious to see what type of productivity our guys can muster up to really get this thing dialed in. You know,
Well, let's deal with that. Let's deal with putting those pieces together in this game. What this game means to putting these pieces together. Let me just give shout out to Big Keith. Keith, what's up, my man? What's going on? Kamasi,
AB,
what's up, my man? Kamasi, come on in, come on in, come
come
on
on
in.
in.
Kamasi, what's up, man?
What up,
Trojan
what up?
16. What's the word? Uh, Keith said, "What's up, J Walk?
What's up? What's up, big bro?
Big J,
KB?
what's up? Tapping in. I know you on that plane, man. You on that plane looking at what's up? Hey, Corn, Cornhole, Colorado lost to the Buffalo Sauce? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. John, good morning. John Casilia, good morning,
Good
USCJ
morning.
and J Walk. God bless you. Hey, God bless you too.
God
Hey,
bless
God bless everybody that's tapping in right now. I see you guys coming in real strong right about now. So we're
you.
gonna
Yeah,
touch on this. So Jay, let's talk about. Oh, let me get into this question real quick. Somebody sent me this. Bryce Olson. Bryce Olson sent me this question early this morning, and he wanted me to address this. And then I want to talk about what we just talked about real quick. Bryce Olson says, "Does Grinch have?" And I think we can kind of pretty much lead us where it's at after we deal with this Grinch. But Bryce Olson said, "Does Grinch have what we need in a defensive coach?" He's looking like his old days at Oklahoma. And are we going to be able to compete with Addison and our other players get back basically against UCLA and Notre Dame? What's your thoughts on that question?
I believe I believe that he does. That's a loaded question. So it's twofold. Within himself, does he have that? Does he have the acumen to be a great defensive coordinator, and does he have the skills? I do believe that. Yes. Now, when you say does he have what it takes, I don't think he does with regards to the pieces that he needs for the scheme that he likes to run. So it's yes and no. Yes, he can coach. I mean, every place he's ever been to, regardless of what the commentary is, or regardless of what the rhetoric is, or whatever the narrative is, he has proven to improve everybody's defense statistically. That's
Yeah,
just that's just a fact. Some years he's had greater productivity than others. That's no different than any defensive coordinator. But what I'll say is, I believe that he's a year to a year and a half away from having the type of roster with the types of blended hybrid style players that he uses for this system. And this is it's a very it's not a favorable defensive scheme when you're looking at it, but it's actually the accumulation of the end results at the end of the season is really where you got to go. Okay, you know what? I mean, they were a decent defense, and they were all young and learning it for the first time. So I'm not gonna give him
right.
too. I'm not gonna give him too much leeway, because at the same time, I do think that he was struggling to make adjustments. Just to answer your question, he was struggling to make adjustments against Utah when they wouldn't run the ball, and he thought they were going to keep running it, but they continue to pass it. So I thought that was a little bit of a hiccup. And then against Arizona, where we knew they were going to pass the ball, and we couldn't figure out how to get our guys to be in proper position to make some of those plays. So other than that, and Cal, I don't even want to speak on Cal. I think Cal is just a byproduct of really a struggling depth chart. So we'll just leave it at that and missed tackles. No matter what, a defensive coordinator cannot tackle the guy with the ball. No matter what, a defensive coordinator, no matter how much you scream at a kid, no much you scream at an athlete, can't tell the guy, don't backpedal on 3rd and 2 in the red zone. Play them tight. They're gonna run a short pop route. So it's like those are the types of things I still think our younger secondary are working through, and we're gonna get there.
Absolutely. So while we're on defense right now, well, let's get to what we were talking about earlier as far as the pieces, because we're gonna lean back into this defense as well as we're talking about the pieces that we have to gather the fragments together, man, in this next game. Things that we felt like we left on the field last game. How do you feel about some of the pieces coming together this game, and what type of opportunity do you think present itself for us as relates to this game when we look at Colorado and all that they have to offer? Because they are, I can pull some of these numbers up, but they are, let's get to some of these numbers real quick with Colorado, because they are a little bit behind in a lot of things right here.
Say they was lost in the sauce.
They kind of lost in the sauce. The leading receiver, 470 yards on the season. Quarterback 976 yards. The running and 6 touchdowns, and the running back is 381 yards. Deion Smith. So I mean, now I did see the receiver last week had a nice bomb on Oregon, and it was pretty early on in the game. And Jalen Taylor. So what type of pieces do you think, fragments do you think we have to pick up and opportunities that present itself here in this game?
Here's the biggest thing that I've noticed in the last 3 weeks above anything, and maybe it's some people have brought it up, but the thing that I recognize that we've not been doing is we've not been wrapping and bringing ball carriers down on first contact. That has been a somewhat of an issue. A lot of guys are throwing their shoulders into these tackles and not wrapping up. Now, it could be because literally 3 of our best linebackers all have hand issues. 3 of them. CV has had a broken hand with a bone sticking out. Shane Lee has a club on his hand where he can't squeeze his fingers. And I want to say even Raylan might be going through some type of
he is
hand related issues. So these are things that they show up. They're definitely showing up on the tape where it's like, okay, guys are getting 6-7 yards after initial contact, and that's the difference in these ball games. Whereas if you could really recall in the beginning of the year, we were dropping them on contact. So we got to get back to that fundamentally. We also have to get back to being patient as ball tacklers, not lunging at guys because we feel anxious about them getting loose on us, but instead holding up, getting big out there, and framing our bodies so that the rest of the pursuit could come in and assist. And that's where we were creating a lot of turnovers, because those second level hits where one guy gets a bop and he's holding the guy up and then more bodies come into the pile. We were creating a lot of turnovers like that. So I think that is the essential missing piece, period. There is nothing else, because our DBs are in position for the most part. We had 1 blown coverage last week. I think overall we've had about 6 blown coverages this whole season. And I think we got scored on at least 3 of the 6. So 50% of the blown coverages we've had have given up touchdowns. I do think those are coachable mistakes. Those are things that we can clear up, because it's a communication issue with new bodies in there and just not understanding where to be. And lastly, I feel like with this now being the 3rd game, we have this linebacking core together. I believe we should be able to see a little more chemistry. And I think from the bottom of my heart that Alex Grinch is going to be super aggressive on the quarterback. I mean, I think we're going to have a very blitz heavy package and make them beat,
And he's the kind of quarterback that you can actually blitz too. Now you're talking about DTR. You can blitz DTR, but I mean, if you miss, it's going to cause a lot of problems. He'll burn you a lot. Yeah. So Brian Hanley says, USCJ, why are we not getting any national love? Now, real quick, we're gonna get back to this game, but let me tell you something. There's one analyst that went out there and to your question, he got up there and talked about why is UCLA not ranked ahead of USC? Well, here's my answer to that question. I feel like anytime you get blown, USC has never got blown out. And Greg McElroy, he made reference to this. He's the only one on national media that made reference to this, and that's keeping it real. USC never got blown out. UCLA's got blown out, and
Oregon.
And Oregon both have got blown out. And so why are we not?
Utah.
Go ahead. What were we saying?
In Utah. Utah's been blown out.
Yeah, and Utah. So my thing is like, why do you think why aren't we getting the national media, and why doesn't the media think we need to get national media? Why people in the country don't think we need to get national media? I have no idea. We lost by 1 point, and I think Greg McElroy is one of those who actually saw the game and was able to say, okay, he gives us the benefit of the doubt because he made a video. He said they lost. They had to score a 2-point conversion. Not only did they have a score 2-point conversion to win the game, the refs kind of altered that game. So he's the only one that acts like he wants to recognize that, opposed to anybody else. And for individuals not to address that and to suggest that we shouldn't be in the national media or the national level, they're absolutely crazy. So, Brian, I think they're just hating. That's my question. I think they lost in the barbecue sauce and the hickory barbecue sauce. They are lost in the Alfredo sauce, sweet and sour sauce. They are lost in all of it. That's my answer to that question. I mean, I got, you know what? We can't do this today. John is once again lost in the sauce, brother. That's my answer, man. I mean, it's no other explanation. They do not want USC to get to this level, and they understand that. And so that's my answer to that question, man. John, what you thinking?
Not the hickory sauce. Not the hickory sauce.
It's the hickory smoked barbecue sauce. They are lost in all of it. Wood, hey, it's the applewood bacon. Hey, they are lost in that, man. I'm telling you, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Hey, so let me propose this question. If 6 months ago I said this November in the upcoming 2022 season, USC is going to be 8-1 with the chance to go into the playoff, with the chance to go into the Pac-12 championship game. Let me ask anybody, no matter how they got there, would you be upset? Answer in the comments, please. Would anybody, if I said, hey, we're going to be 8-1 going into November, heading into our 2 rivalry games where we have a chance to go to the playoff for the first time ever, as well as win a Pac-12.
I'm telling you.
Would you be pissed off if I told
you? If they told us this in March or April?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So really a lot of the things that we're dealing with as a USC family, I believe is mostly just expectations and perceived expectations that are unmatched or unmet. Here's what I commission and champion everyone. And really, guys, I'm preaching to myself because believe it or not, although I come on here and I'm really positive as I can be, I'm pretty, I'm objective when I'm scouting the film and I'm looking at the stuff and I try to break it down, but I just never like to speak negatively into the universe on things, especially as it relates to young men who are still developing and a culture that we still are trying to reestablish. But what I'm going to say is, if you would have told me that we'd be 8-1 at this time, I would have been like, awesome. Now, I did think we had a chance to go undefeated this season. I did. And I do believe we have an opportunity to go undefeated for the rest of the year. But I cannot be upset overall at the results of the team as a whole. If you want to nitpick and break down every micro piece and microcosm of the squad, do so. But I think you're going to torture yourself to a large degree. And what it does when you do that is you kind of soil the beauty that what this is. We are Phoenix. We are like a Phoenix rising from the ashes. We're not rising from the flames. We're not like a finished product yet. And for us to pretend that we are it's it's wrong. And I think the only time you really ever feel let down in life, if you really think about it, is when you expected something and it didn't happen. That's how you become disappointed. Is when you expect something, or you have the belief that this is supposed to be this way. Intrinsically, you feel this is how it's supposed to be, and it doesn't manifest that way. That's where you build resentment. And so now everybody's blaming Alex Grinch, when Alex Grinch was one of the reasons we've won most of our games. And that defense, regardless of how it's looked, has produced results that has put our players in a national spotlight, because everybody in the country talked about how wonderful our offense was going to be.
Right.
Everybody. Nobody said our defense was going to be good. And the moment that it was pretty good in the first half of the season, we all were like, we went in the natty, and we still might be able to. But don't shift your energy because it doesn't look the way you anticipated it always. There are always little things that have to get maneuvered. Like this system is not solidified just quite yet. And I have to remind myself of that. But let's have aspirations for our squad. Let's have aspirations and hopes versus expectations, because the expectations, when they're unmet, leads to anger and resentment, and you hold grudges and you blame shift. And we just don't need that in this culture anymore. We've been blaming people for way too long. We're used to it now. We're used to blaming coaches when really the coaches don't get to play. When really I seen our players missing tackles. When really I see our players hitting the wrong gaps. And you can say the coach didn't teach them where to go. I doubt that. I doubt that the coaches didn't tell them what the right responsibility was. It's about execution. I put just as much level of accountability on the athletes as I do the coaches. But at the same time, Coach Carroll, Coach Norton, when he was my defense coach, Coach Ed Ogeron, none of those dudes could force me to go into the right gap in the moment when I needed to go and play. And that's the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things too, and we want to get into some of these numbers because Caleb wins. We want to talk about Caleb as well, because Caleb needs to be promoted. Have you guys noticed that not only USC is not, they're not trying to promote USC nationally, but they're not trying to promote Caleb Williams. But you know what? They lost in the sauce as well, because I'm going to tell you something. Caleb Williams, what he's doing right now, when you look at him compared to some of these other guys, he's running circles right now as it relates to numbers from Bo Nix and Hooker, the guy from Ohio, and CJ Stroud. And he's one of the only quarterbacks that have one interception. And for them to not talk about that on a national level, it's crazy. Now, here's the other thing. You go look at I watched that UCLA Arizona State game. See, a lot of people are not telling the truth about exactly what's going on. Look at where Oregon is from a pass perspective, their pass defense. Look at where UCLA is. Now, UCLA, we beat Arizona State 45-25. UCLA, I went back and I watched that game, and I'm telling you, with 6 minutes left, Arizona State came within 6 points of that game. I did not realize that. Only thing I seen was 50 to 36. I didn't see the whole game. So I said, let me go back and watch this. UCLA that dominant. So I went back and watched the game. They put up a 2-point conversion. It was 36 to 42. It was only a 6-point lead by UCLA with 6 minutes left. Now, no way in the world Arizona State came that close to us. Matter of fact, we locked them down. So listen, UCLA has some issues on defense as well, but they're not putting this information out there. Then you couple that with the fact that they're not putting information with Caleb Williams and his phenomenal numbers that he's doing right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Did you want to speak on that before we move on?
All I'm going to say is you're absolutely right. And I was watching that game as the USC game was on. So I was in the Coliseum, and at the club level, they play other games on the screens. So, my wife and I were in there watching the USC game on the screen. And also because I wanted to hear the commentary. I wanted to hear what the commentators were saying.
Yeah.
When you're, in the state, like I said, when I'm at the Coliseum, I try to get every perspective, field level, medium level, and then I go all the way to the top, watch it down, and then I go in and listen to the narrative. I want to hear what everybody's saying, right? Because it's hard to get a real understanding of what's going on when you're just watching it from the crowd. Plus, it was homecoming and everybody was distracted. So while that was happening, I was watching the USC, the UCLA and Arizona State game, and it was literally identical. to our Cal performance. It was the exact game.
Yeah, yes.
Happening. Exact game happening.
Nobody's talking about it.
Well, in that moment, a lot of the people that were in the clubhouse, they were asking me, hey, so do you think we'll be able to handle UCLA the way our defense is playing? And I said, well, the way our defense is playing, no, we won't be able to handle UCLA. But if they play just maybe 2%, 5% better, yes, we will handle UCLA. Because the way our defense played that night, we gave up too many underneath routes. Against UCLA, we cannot do that. So I don't even want to speak about UCLA too much, but at the same time, I recognize in that moment when I finally got to see head-to-head 2 screens at the same time of what was happening, I was like, oh yeah, we look better on film overall, to me. And this is me trying not to be biased, but I do see where DTR and Zach Charbonnet can become a headache if we just don't secure the ball tackler. If we don't get these guys on the ground, or at least hold them up for the pursuit to come in, if we dive at ankles, because these dudes are hurdling people, these guys are feeling extra confident, and that's a real thing. But I do believe that we have the recipe and the ingredients to beat a UCLA and then to handle Notre Dame. But in order to do that, we can't overlook Colorado tomorrow night. We have to see through them. And by seeing through them, that means you got to eliminate that and get to the next piece on the board. You can't just try to leap over them. You can't just overlook them and look around them. You got to go through them, through UCLA, through Notre Dame, through the Pac-12 championship game, get ourselves a berth into this into this college playoff. Hopefully by then, that'll be 5 to 6 weeks later where all of our players can be active again.
Absolutely. And some say
bigger, greatness can be easy. That's right.
Absolutely. Some suggest that if we get to the college football playoff, we'll get blown out. Well, listen, let me tell you this. Would you guys rather go to the college football playoff, or would you rather just, because I think even if we did, I'm just hypothetically speaking, even if we did, it was a blowout. I don't think we get blown out, but even if it was a blowout, do you still realize how much recruiting still takes place and how good that is for USC to have that national recognition, to be able to go to the game like that? I mean, listen, people would never thought. And not only that, what type of accolades? Lincoln Riley's already being promoted and presented as Coach of the Year right now.
Right.
Do you realize how what he's doing right now is just absolutely unbelievable? I mean, how many coaches can say that you had an opportunity to go to the playoffs first year, 4-18, and now you're in position, you're in the talks right now? That is absolutely remarkable. So we got to look at it from that perspective. It's going to help our recruiting, and we got to understand that. What you thinking, John?
100%. The national media landscape needs to really, they need to call it like it is. Not objectively, but they need to call it like it is and give credit to where credit is due. We have multiple players on our team that are consistently in the national spotlight as players of the week, players of the conference, top statistical and efficiency type players. Every single week we're getting accolades. Monheim, not Jordan. What is his first name?
Jonah. Yeah.
My bad, Jonah. My apologies, bro. You're balling. I'm so
balling.
damn proud of you. Like last week, I think in college football he graded out at 96%.
Big time.
In college football overall, he was one of the top offensive linemen in the country in every conference. Those are the types of things that the national landscape needs to shine light on. And he's young. Again, Caleb Williams was had another Heisman-caliber performance when all the best quarterbacks, they all struggle with the exception to Bo and then the guy from North Carolina. But they're not, to me, they're not playing the same level of football overall. I think Oregon is playing a good brand of football, but really they haven't, to me, had that many challenging games.
Mm-hmm. Well, their next 3 games is going to, we're going to find out a lot about Oregon.
That's what I'm going to say.
We're going to find out Washington, Utah, Oregon State. We're going to find out a lot about them.
they have a murderer's row at the end, right?
Yeah.
And we played our toughest matchups towards the middle of our season, which created depth issues because we had injuries. That's always going to play a toll, man. It's just like when you play your hardest games in the middle of the season, oftentimes you lose your best players. If you look historically, look at how football is structured. When you play your toughest matchups in the middle of the season, you very, very quite consistently lose some of your best players. It's just the byproduct of the game, and I hate that. But like, if we get to play all these more difficult teams towards the back half, I guarantee you we wouldn't have the same injuries, and I guarantee you we wouldn't have this same conversation about USC's defense, because we would have been able to stack these games in what is called periodization, where you progressively build into each week until you finally like build this amazing unit and this awesome thing that's hitting on all cylinders at the end of the season. So hopefully we'll be able to get a favorable match schedule like that in the future. But as of now, we just got to deal with it. And I do think that the media they owe us a lot more credit from top.
Way more credit. And speaking on media, Brian says, well, first he said that he heard that receiver's not going to be playing. I haven't heard that yet, so I guess that must be some news they came out with, that receiver's not going to be playing. So, man, really, we have a real opportunity here no, the receiver, for Colorado, the one I was talking about, that the leading receiver. So we got a real opportunity, because other than that running back is the playmaker and the receiver and the quarterback. Other than that, everybody's just kind of they haven't really shined like that. So, but Brian says, heard they may put USC and UCLA game on a late spot, man. Brian, listen, I am so actually, I think it was the UCLA and USC game. I posted that, and man, that is really, that's what you call being spiteful and just hateful, man. And why in the world, that's I don't understand it, man. I mean, so they put two different time slots. They put one at 5 o'clock and the other one is at 7. And it looks like they're trying to go with the 7 o'clock on Fox. And man, that's just that's crazy. Because they know a lot of national media, they're not going to watch those two teams at on the East Coast 10:30 at night.
No,
opposed to 7:30.
They know it.
It's crazy.
They know it. Well, we are focusing a lot on the UCLA game. So let's not fall into that trap, because we gotta beat them. We gotta dip them buffalo wings in the sauce first. So
Absolutely.
Let's stick with the Buffs for now, because we play them tomorrow. We can't play the Bruins as much as we want to. We can't play them yet. So we don't even know if UCLA is going to survive this game that they're about to play. So I'm like, look, man, every single week the ball can bounce your way, or it could bounce the other guy's way. Here's what I'm going to tell you. So far, there has not been one team that we've played that played down. They've all played up. They've all played above their level, in my opinion, since we started this season. Now, Colorado's coming in here with reckless abandonment. They're like, look, man, we are the worst team in the conference statistically. We have won one game this year, and we have never beat USC ever in the history of the programs. They are 0-15 against USC. You don't think that they have a chip on their shoulder? Let me reshift our focus and paint this perspective of these guys who there's like some remarkable percentage of their roster are from California. You don't think they want to get here and do what they're supposed to do in the Coliseum in front of their friends and family and their former high school teammates? And, when they get tickets to these games, they want their family to show up. So let's focus on the Buffaloes. When I played Colorado, it was always competitive. I remember in 2019, they actually were winning going into the fourth quarter of that season. They were beating us, and then we took out the quarterback. Can't remember the guy's name, but he was
that guy. He was a little scrambler, man. I know you,
Monte.
Yeah,
right?
Monte, man. He was something else.
So let's not forget that Colorado have Power 5 Division I players, and USC was recruiting some of them. So let's not act like that they don't have the ability to win a high-level football game, especially with a USC team that has looked a little sleepy at times.
Yeah. This is Kristen. He says, do you think we are primarily a no backfield offense last game just to work as a heavy run team in this Colorado game? Man, somebody else has asked me that same thing, and I'm just gonna say it like this. I think given, and Jay, well, you can answer this as well, but I think given the fact that Lincoln Riley's had success, he's had all types of running backs, he's had all types of receivers, he's had all types of offense. His offenses has been in the top in the country. And somebody else was saying we need to run the ball. I feel like we need to run the ball, but I think Lincoln Riley knows exactly what he's doing. And I think for me to question exactly the play caller to what's going on, him being an offensive mind that he is, I think I don't have the credentials that he has as it relates to that. But I will say I feel like personally we should run the ball more. But I think he may be, we don't know if he's setting it up to later on in the season. We don't know exactly what's taking place, but possibly so. We could run the ball more, possibly not. What's your thoughts on that?
I believe run blocking is more violent.
That's what I think. Yeah.
And pass blocking, and I think he recognizes the depth issues we have. I think spreading out the offense opens up the field. Taking out the running back keeps our running backs healthy and not having to take on as much damage and collision as which may not be unnecessary or which may not be as necessary. I'm sorry. But then also what it does is it forces defensive coordinators to have different looks to scheme against. And I think that's all a part of building into what I just mentioned earlier, periodization. Every week we've shown a slight different wrinkle in our offense. That's not the first time we're like, what are they doing? Right? Because there have been times in this season where I've heard us say, man, why aren't we throwing the ball more?
Yeah.
Like we just want it our way, bro. Like we are the Burger King fans. We want to have it our way, right? And that sometimes we just can't have it our way. I was questioning that spread, empty backfield all game last week. Upset, frustrated, and then I realized, wow, what we're doing is in a real situation with a team that we probably can control. We're giving our quarterback these reps at learning how to win games down the stretch. That's exactly what you're doing. You're giving your young quarterback an opportunity to navigate this team in a way that forces him to be the guy that's on a national spotlight. There is no running back to save you. It's empty. You're going to make the play. You got to make the play. And man, did he execute that offense wonderfully. I mean, that particular offense. Now, going into this next week, you got UCLA and Notre Dame have to game plan that. UCLA have to Notre Dame our tight sets. UCLA, Notre Dame, and Colorado, they have to game plan all these new offensive formations. That's a lot. That's a lot on a defensive coordinator. That's a lot on a bunch of young players when you're trying not to get reads or when you're trying to get reads and you can't figure out exactly what formation this USC front is going to come out with. So, yeah, I just think it's a little bit of gamesmanship and sprinkling out some breadcrumbs for the other defensive coordinators to have to learn how to follow the trails, right? That's what I believe.
Absolutely. So, Caleb Williams, he's having, like I said, a phenomenal year. He's tied for number 3 in the nation with 28 TD passes. He is one of the 2 quarterbacks at this point with 20 plus TD passes and only has 1 interception. And he has 2,742 passing yards, which is number 10 in the nation, second in the Pac-12. And not in the second in the Pac-12 to Bo Nix. It's second in the Pac-12 with yards to Jaden Delore. But his problem is he throws too many interceptions, Jaden Delore. But that guy's a gunslinger, and so Bo Nix doesn't even have the yardage. I think he's at 2,500. Caleb's at 2,742. So, I mean, Caleb is, and only 1 interception. Bo Nix has 5 interceptions. Caleb Williams right now, listen, we need to really appreciate I don't know if we really understand exactly what Caleb Williams is doing right now, but Caleb Williams is having a phenomenal year. And listen, we need to be all the way excited instead of looking at some of the negative point, as relates to that. What's your thoughts on that, John?
Yes, man. I mean, if we like I said in our last overview or preview, like Caleb is having a Heisman-caliber season. Like when you compare his stats towards our very own Matt Leinart, he's beating Matt Leinart at this phase of the season. Like Matt had only thrown about 2,200 yards or something and 23 or 24 touchdowns, at this point in his Heisman year. I think he finished that season with 3,000 something yards, but Caleb is a little bit further along that line at this point of this season. And I love Matt Leinart, and we all love Matt Leinart, but let's look at it like if he was considered one of the greatest. He's considered one of the GOATs. We have a young man that's doing a little bit more than him and has a little bit more greater QBR than Matt did during his Heisman campaign. So with that being said, you just got to recognize just how special this unique team is. I mean, guys, if we could just sit back and enjoy the efforts of the guys and not grade them and judge them on every single outcome that doesn't feel the way we want it to feel, we would not have as much heartburn this season. We would be enjoying ourselves a lot more and understanding that a win is a win, no matter how when you finish this whole thing and you look in the record books, it's not going to say there won't be any asterisks next to those W's because they almost lost.
And that's the same with Utah. I mean, there's no asterisk next to theirs, and we know that what the refs did. But guess what? The only thing that's shown on there right now is the big fat W. And listen, as a result, they leading us right now as it relates to the Pac-12. Unless they lose somehow. So, do we realize as well, Caleb Williams is a sophomore compared to Bo Nix, all these other guys, Hooker. Caleb is just a sophomore. He's very mature and playing like he's mature. And listen, we got a lot to be thankful for as it relates to that. Now, looking at our defense, we're giving up 25.2 points per game, which is 60th in the country, number 4 in the Pac-12. And rushing defense, we're 142. We're averaging giving up 142, which is 66 in the nation. Number 8 in the Pac-12. What do we do? What do we have to do to tighten that up? And even with the pass defense, 267 yards we're giving up per game, which is 109th in the country, number 10 in the Pac-12. What do you think we need to do to tighten that up?
Our pass defense is the thing that bugs me the most because we're often in position. That's what bothers me. So making plays on the ball, finding the ball without hugging or grabbing receivers. That's it. We gotta just play more sound coverage when the ball is in movement. The best players in the world play faster, play better when the ball is in motion. It's something I teach my athletes. When the ball is in motion, that's where the great players, the best teams are playing at the highest level when the ball is moving. So we got to fix that stuff. Now, with regard to the running game, some teams, we really shut out their running attack. We really do. While I notice we missing tackles. Like that's what plagued us last year. Everybody complained about what a poor tackling team we were. At the beginning of this season for the first 5 games, although the competition wasn't as strict and tough as it is now, you're still playing Division I players, right? We were able to get guys down. We were able to put dudes on the ground. And with how we were swarming and game tackling, we were often taking guys out of the game just from the physicality standpoint. Somehow we got to get back to that. And I think our young men they really feel anxious about giving up big plays. You can almost see it. You can almost see like they don't want to mess up. So I hope this is a game where we can just, treat this thing like a dry eraser, bring out the dry erase board and clean off the board. And let's start to now rewrite this thing the way we needed to go into the last half of this season.
Absolutely, and I think we could tighten some things up. Opponent third down conversion rate is 42.37%, which is 105 in the nation. Then number seven in the Pac-12, and then the red zone conversion is going to be 74.34%, which is 17 in the country, number three in the nation in the Pac-12. So we can clean. This is I consider this to be. We're not taking them for granted, but I consider this to be as well a cleanup game, and I think it's a game that we can still leave out. I know a lot of people said they want certain people back, but I still think we can let Addison get healthy, let Mario get more healthy, and we'll be fine. And even Gentry, I think we'll be okay. I mean, I think this is the game. We are fortunate to have this game to allow these guys to still get healthy before next week's game. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. As much as they want to play, let them rest. Let them rest.
Absolutely. Hugo, what's up, Hugo? November going to be a good month. Absolutely, man. It is, man. So listen. Man, we could. John is right. This is Ellis. John is right. Other than Mekhi Blackman, everybody else is not making plays on the ball. Listen, they just in bad position. But listen, man, hopefully some of these guys can correct that this week. This is a perfect game to do that. Practice on technique. We're not going to face as explosive receivers as we are for Notre Dame and UCLA. They're not, so we can really use this as a get this technique together, man, and make sure we're in the right position.
Oh yeah.
And so Half-Breed, what's going on, my man? So listen, man. Those who don't know, tomorrow is the game. They kind of put us lost in the sauce on a Friday night, so it could be some good and some bad as it relates to that. I mean, the good. I mean, we're probably gonna be one of the only games on. And is that on ESPN or Fox? I can't remember.
I'm actually not certain.
I can't remember. It's on one of those.
Let me look it
and
up.
So at least it's not gonna be on the WAC-12, the WAC-12 network, because you guys know the WAC-12 is lost in all the sauce, man. They lost in absolute all the way Alfredo sauce with extra seasoning on it. They cannot get this stuff together. And a lot of people don't, unless you got the Direct TV or Dish Network or Sling TV or something, you cannot get the WAC-12. So listen, we're gonna get ready to shut this thing down. Walker, what's up, guys? I think
might be fun.
Us Irish fans. Oh, you're an Irish fan. Us Irish fans set a record of how many fans rush. Hey, man, listen, we're looking forward. Walter, I appreciate you coming in. We are looking for. Hey, listen. Hey, congratulations on that big win. I was pulling for you guys, man. Yeah. You don't understand how thrilled I was to see that win last week. And so I think, man, the way you guys are coming on right now, you guys are looking pretty strong. Congratulations on being ranked number 20. Notre Dame looked like it's going to be a bigger challenge than what we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year, man. So look, congratulations to you, my man. And so anything you want to say on that, John?
Yeah, no, I'm loving the fact that both of our rivalry games are stacking up to be historic greats.
Big time.
Both of these games could be all-time great games, and that's what it's supposed to be like, I'm very grateful that the season is working out the way that it is, where off the biggest movements in the transfer portal, off the biggest movements in with the NIL collectives and initiatives, you're starting to see teams have a lot greater fighting chance, and you're starting to see what we call parity throughout the whole country, particularly in the Pac-12 conference. When you look at the best players from top to bottom, believe it or not, they've all mostly come from other conferences.
Yeah.
All of the top players right now in the Pac are like transfer players.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if these same players would have been stuck in the other places where they weren't getting love, or they weren't getting an opportunity, or where they weren't getting the proper guidance or development. We would not even know how talented Bo Nix really is. We would not even know what Caleb Williams' true potential could be. We wouldn't know, Zach Charbonnet, would he have been able to be this explosive where he was, right? So let's take the good and the bad, take the yin with the yang, but at the same time, let's not rebel and fight against change. as it is a exponentially important part of development and evolution. Change is a necessary product for growth. Growth is needed for all of us to get a better experience overall. So let's have fun with the rest of this season. I encourage us all to continue to keep a positive mindset and the outlook. And we can't act like spoiled children when things don't go our way, bro. I'm so tired of the tantrums from all these other programs across the country, including some from our very own, when things just don't go the right way or the way we want them to go. Instead, let's be really balanced so we can understand how to really support our guys the right way. Because what I see overall is we get to be fair weather in that when it's great, we're and when it doesn't feel right, we're griping and complaining, and we're not giving the same energy to the program that it needs.
And let me just real quick, let me speak to that, because major support it's the same way as your son or daughter. You know, I got a son that plays football. If your son or daughter is playing football, of course, we want to put proper analysis on it. We want to keep it real, but at the same time, you want to support these young men as if it was, you know, your very own, because we got love for them and we want to see them succeed. And sometimes, you know, believe it or not, I've had a lot of parents, you know, reach out and listen, man, you got to understand these youngsters want to do well and they want to succeed on the field, but they listen to some of this stuff. And at the same time, think about this: recruits watch this as well. I think I was showing John some things, and you know, even though it's a certain amount of subscribers, YouTube send me analytics and they tell you like 50, 60,000 people every 28 days watch this channel. And as a result, you're getting people from all over that watch this. So we want to keep in mind that recruits, man, we don't want to shine some negative light on some things, man. John, anything you want to say on that?
Yes. Thank you for saying that. You said what I wanted to say without saying it. So thank you. Like, if you guys understand the entirety of this process of building a team, the alumni, the supporters, the fans, the followers, the believers, you are the USC body. We are one of the most significant reasons why a program can be successful. That is the truth. And it's something that I believe in life, is you never, ever, ever, and I personally live my life under the mindset of I never say something about myself or about someone else or about anything that I don't want to be true. I will never say something about myself that I don't want to be true. So if I say like, man, I suck, I don't want that to be true. So I don't say it. I don't say, man, you suck. I don't want that to be true. So I won't say it. I won't say, man, so-and-so is bad. If I want that to be true, then I'll speak into it, because the power of life and death comes in the tongue. And when you speak things into the universe, you speak things into existence. So imagine having 16 million USC family members throughout this country, throughout this world, all saying positive things about these young men in the message boards, on the social platforms, in these videos. And these recruits who grow up 14 years old, 15, 16, 17, 18, and they're looking at these videos and they're going, man, everybody at USC shows love. Everybody at USC gets a positive experience. Everybody at USC is feeling like this is like a safe place to be. Imagine the level of attraction that you draw into your organization because you're speaking edifying things versus things that deconstruct and demoralize. And it's so easy to be negative. It's just the easiest, most ever-ready emotion is negativity and stress and anxiety. It's presently available at all times because we're all dealing with stuff. All of us. Not many of us, unless you've lived the experience, know what it's like to be a student athlete. Not many of us know what it's like to be a student athlete that plays football. Not many of us know what it feels like to be a student athlete that plays football at USC. Not many of us know what it's like to be a student athlete that plays football at USC at at a private university that requires a high academic workload on top of the physical stress.
The balance in that.
Now manage that with the media market that USC is, and your whole life is under a microscope. Imagine that when everybody that comes around, you don't know if you can trust them or believe in them or not because they probably want something from you. Imagine now listening to all the commentary of people telling you, you suck, or you stink, or now they say, you know, they're reading, everybody thinks our coach is bad. Are we missing something because we believe in him? Why do they think he's bad? Now, should I start not believing in him? Should I start second guessing what he's teaching us? You have no idea how all these little things are shred the fabric of what we're trying to build and accomplish together. I command you, I commissioned you, I stand with you. Let's be positive and speak love into these situations. Call it honest now. Call it like it is. We can say that didn't feel good, that wasn't right. But at the same time, let's get through a year before we start persecuting people.
All the way, yeah.
Yes, sir. Year. Let's finish it and see where we're at. Because let's say we win the national championship this year. Are you going to say, Coach Grinch sucks?
And we give up 60 in that game.
Let's say we give up 80 in that game. Right? 80 in that game, but we score 81. And we walk away with a big old trophy and we get more of these. You might not have the same sentiment. You might say, okay, we're going to get better next year, but you probably won't say he sucks. Because what I see is a guy that's building results that we want to see. Some games are not going to feel like other games. There have been games we've been dominant on defense. There have been games the defense have won it for us. There have been games that our offense struggled and the defense was everything we wanted. There have been games where our defense struggled and our offense running for. That's the part of having a team. It's not just one piece. It's everything. You can have this beautiful car and it works perfectly, but if the spark plug doesn't work, you ain't driving. You're not going anywhere, and that one little piece messed it up. So let's make sure we're fine-tuning the spark plugs, fine-tuning everything, keep the oil changed, and we are the life force that makes the engine go. So positivity breeds positive results. I can't.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just some guy that's like a cheerleader, rah, rah, rah. I'm telling you from life experience, I played at USC. I know how hard that thing was. I know how many times I spent bloody tears streaming down my face because it was hard. And we had expectations and everybody was pointing fingers and people were saying stuff. Family was coming at us. Former teammates were coming at us. Opponents were coming at us. Referees didn't like us. We sometimes didn't like ourselves. It's not easy. And we got these young men trying to change their life in a tangible, positive way. And we're throwing darts and stones. We got coaches who are figuring it out, coming across the country to another
First year.
Family trying to figure out how to live in crazy Los Angeles and build this thing. Give some people grace. Give some people grace so that we can win this race. But it's so hard to win it when we're starting to latch on chains and anchors and they got to drag us too. They got to drag our support with them. They got to convince us to believe in them. Let's just let this season finish out. Let's see where we stand. Then we can kind of reconstruct. But I'm saying Alex Grinch needs a lot more time to do what I know he's capable of doing, because we've seen it in spurts, guys. We've seen the evidence of what it can be when we're whole and when we're operating with good football integrity. And that's where I stand, man. I really stand. And I need you guys on board. Ain't no podcast talking like this. This is not superficial. I'm telling you, this is a real thing, and we need each other's life force. Like if I see you guys at a picnic, I'm gonna bring you in. We all family. Like Oscar Huerta made a comment earlier, said he saw me
I didn't know you seen that. I was just about to say that. You seen that?
Oscar, I'm so sad you didn't call me, bro. Family or no family, blood or no blood, you are my family. We are in this together. Please flag me down. Let's fellowship. Let's hang out. Let's exchange contacts. You never know. We may, all of us, that goes the same for everybody. We need one another, and our athletes and our coaches and our organization and our administration need us. The recruits need to know that they're coming into a place where they're going to be nurtured, taken care of. You're going to pat them on their head when they do well. You're going to pat them on their head when they do wrong. You're going to teach them how to correct it, but you ain't going to throw stones at them. You're not going to stab them with poisonous negative darts that lay on your subconscious mind when you're already battling at the most competitive university in the country.
Absolutely. So we appreciate that. And so get into Big Black. Black says, he says, this is the best USC podcast show, period. Half-Breed says USC. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Real Talk, USCJ, for sharing with us, men and women. Hey, appreciate you, man. So listen, man. Jaywalk just kind of let us in. Let's get Big Black. John, you're a mature man now. Projection.
That's right.
Projection frequency. Absolutely, man. And you got to understand that whatever we put out, man, you got to understand. Just like in the natural life, I know that we see everything from a perspective because we're looking at a game, but whatever, even in our lives, period, man, we feel certain things if things are not right with in our surrounding, and we kind of can tell what's good and what's not. And if somebody's feeling us, if somebody's not, it's the same thing, man. That translates over to the national, with the national media. And it's bad enough we got these haters, man. The last thing we need to do is hate with them. That's the last thing we need to do. So listen, man, we appreciate everybody. I'm gonna give you guys my score prediction. Jaywalk gonna give you his, man. Listen, I think we're gonna be big. I think Caleb is gonna be big. I'm just gonna say we have 40 something. We still averaging 40 something. I'm just gonna go ahead and say, man, we're gonna put up a 50 burger. I think we're gonna put up a 50 burger. I'm gonna call it like that, man. 50-14, man. Jay, what you think?
I was saying 52-17.
52, okay. I say 50-14, and you say 52-17.
We need to get a safety this game. We got to get a safety. We got to have some unbelievable plays that we haven't seen this year. And you know what? I'm gonna call for like a kickoff return.
Absolutely. I want to see somebody return a kickback, man. I like even Mike Jackson. He's looking so explosive. You put him back there, punt return. He may even do something, man, with that thing, man, because he looked like he almost got loose last week with a punt return.
He sure did. Some type of punt or KOR we are overdue. We gotta give these guys something else to scout, and that's the truth. But overall, man, let's just have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's celebrate on a Friday night, man.
Absolutely.
That'd be great, man. We got to figure out how to get this like kind of watch party going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Digital asset. He said church. Yeah, you know what? We are having some absolute church right now. You're right, man. You're right. We got to support our guys, man. Hey, we got to do it. Hey, one thing you don't ever have to worry about over here. Some people say USCJ, you a homer. You know what? I am a homer. Hey, you know what? I love the USC Trojans, and I'm only gonna speak positive. Of course, I'm gonna address some negative, but you won't find just trying to expose who I'm gonna get the next team, because you gotta understand, other teams watch other podcasts to see what they can get. Other coaches, I'm sure, do the same thing, man, to see what type of information, whether it be a guy that's hurt or whatever. So listen, man. Hector, Jaywalk needs to be on the staff yesterday. He needed to be on USC staff. So listen, man, we appreciate everybody, man. Last words before we get out of here, Jaywalk.
Wow, 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 wow.
Man, the brother can sing.
We gotta have some church, and God is good, and He's good all the time. Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, hey, I love you guys. Thank you guys for letting me be uniquely me. I'm the only me that I know how to be, and I know that this Trojan team's got some sauce, and you can't spell sauce without USC. Yeah, and so we are about to put Colorado and dip them in the buffalo sauce. They're gonna be lost. They're gonna be lost in the sauce.
Big time.
But most certainly, by no stretch of the terms can you say we've had a disappointing season. If you did, you just, quite frankly, would not be telling the truth.
Yeah, and if that's the case, just think about where we were at last year, man. And last year, this time, you talk about lost in the sauce. We were swimming, we were drowning in all the sauce last year. At this time last year, I was miserable. Do you hear me? Miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look, man, we appreciate everybody, man. And listen, until tomorrow, listen, man, everybody, man, continue to stay blessed. Notre Dame. God bless everyone. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Hey, you too as well, Jamie. Thanks, fellas, for the time you give us. Hey, absolutely. We appreciate everything, man. Appreciate everybody for coming on. Everybody for tapping in. You, Adam, USCJ on the front lines with the news. Hey, man. Hey, I appreciate it. We try to get it as fast as possible, man. You guys know I'll stop pulling my car over. I'll stop right there where I'm at, and I'm gonna give it to you right there. You guys already know if I hear it. That's how we roll around here, man. So hey, I appreciate everybody, man. Man, I need that T-shirt. Listen, man. Look, you should have hit me on Monday. I could have got it to you. I got some T-shirts, man. You should have hit me in my inbox. I could have got you the T-shirt, man. I need to know on Monday. Listen, if you connected with me on Instagram, USCJ32, inbox me.
Yeah,
so anyway, man, hey,
hit that like button. Hit that like button.
Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. USC exceed expectations. Absolutely. So look, everybody, man. Until tomorrow, man. XXL. Hey, you need a double X, huh? Hey, until tomorrow. Hey, listen. Everybody, continue to fight on, fight on, fight on.
Fight on, fight on, fight on, and please remember.